Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning, Ann.
Welcome to 2024. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ann Rossley. I'm here with my dear friend and colleague, Kyle.harvey. Say hi, Kyle.
Hello, Kyle.
We sell real estate in downtown Chicago with Baird and Warner's Gold Coast office, and we love to come to you each week to talk about real estate. It's 2024, and we have lots to talk about today, don't we?
There's so much to talk about, and I'm really excited about 2024 for so many reasons, but certainly about real estate. I'm going to talk about that.
Awesome. You had a good holiday?
Yes. It didn't snow much. How about you? It was good to see family. What was you? What?
I had a great holiday. I got my whole family together. All three kids were able to join us, and we had a great time. So it just seems like far away in the rearview mirror since we're so focused on the new year, right?
Yeah.
So as typical, everybody, we're going to do stats first, and then followed by that, we're going to talk about the forecast for 2024, because I know you all want to know what's going to happen this year in real estate, particularly in downtown Chicago, but also across the nation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, I am going to get rid of our names because now everybody knows who we are, and we're going to go into stats. All right. As always, excuse me. We're going to look at the lakefront neighborhoods, which means South Loop to Edgewater, along the lakefront, and the next west neighborhood, which includes like Westtown, Logan Square, Wicker Park, Bucktown, North Center, etc. So let's take a peek at what's going on. First, let's look at houses. All right. This is monthly single-family homes that closed. In December, 64 homes closed. And you'll notice it's actually a little bit ahead of last year. Now, you can see the unicorn years before that of 116 and 90. But, this is a small little thing. Under contract really tells a story here. If you look at the pre-pandemic years of 57 and 44, you'll see that 36 and 42 are not too terribly far off. 90 and 69, when everybody was racing for a single family home, that was higher. But look at this. I think this is the slide of the week.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, right? So it shows the up and down of seasonality, and it shows you that, sure enough, you'd expect the fewest homes for sale to be in the month of December, right? Everybody takes their homes off for the holidays. But
Good Lord
is right. We talk about low inventory. This is where it shows you. We've had significantly lower inventory over the last several years, and now we are at the lowest, 173. So I think that is a big part of discussing what's going on in the neighborhood. Okay. Month supply of homes. Now we're up a little bit despite the lower, and that's because of the rate of sale.
Yes.
Meaning that because there are fewer homes going under contract, the fact that there are so few homes, it only takes 2.3 months to sell out what we have on the market. Up slightly.
Yeah, but still, that's watching us. It may be up slightly. It's crazy low. Normal is 4 and above. 4 to 6 is normal.
Right.
Balanced market, not normal. Balanced market.
Balanced, neither buyer's market nor seller's market.
Right. It's a balanced market. This is crazy low.
Yes, exactly right. The takeaway, if you're on the market and your home hasn't sold in the last 60 days, you need a price adjustment.
Absolutely.
Because the buyers were out there over the last 60 days. Granted, it was November, December, but they were there.
And we are seeing this through communications among brokers. Do you have any more houses? Do you have any more houses? And people are buying houses that are priced to sell. They're not buying houses that are overpriced. So you got to go.
Exactly right. Median sales price continues to climb steadily. We're now at 1,332.5. That's up 5.5% versus previous year. And I did this statistic. The average price per square foot for a single family home in the lakefront communities, granted, it's $399. That is up 24% just versus 2018.
Can we go back for just a quick second?
Absolutely.
Going back. Because I was doing my homework. 4.5% is normal appreciation over the last 40 years. We are up 5.5%. So this is incredible. And that's nationally.
Right.
Chicago's always been a laggard. For Chicago to be at 5.5% for single family home pricing, holy moly, that's
huge appreciation. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Huge.
Number of showings per listing, 2.6, down 18.8. And,
that's holiday. That's the holiday.
Well, yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily down. I mean, look at it compared to like previous years. I think people are looking everywhere to find the right home. If they're looking at everything, as opposed to just like saying, this is the one, let's go look and buy.
Yeah.
So, all right, switching to condos. Condos closed 517, up a little bit from last year. Again, I think the condos under contract is a little more instructive of what's going on. And again, you'll see in the middle, 653 and 703, those were the unicorn years. You look before that at 2019, you'll see 493, 475. So, we're not off that much. Nope. And again,
this is why. Right here.
Only 1,626 condos for sale right now.
Good Lord.
The inventory is so low. And so let's talk just one quick second, since we've been talking about this, the reasons that it's low. Number one, people are looking at their 2 to 3.
Notice you've got a little bubble with a thumbs up. Your computer just did a little bubble thumbs up.
It did?
Uh-huh. There you go.
Oh, yeah. How cute is that? Everybody thinks of their mortgage rate as an asset, right? So unless you have to move, divorce, death, diapers, etc., you're not moving.
For the next home.
What?
Or going to pay cash for the next home.
Or you're going to pay cash. Right. So, so that's, I think, why partly the inventory is down. Affordability has gone up, right? With interest rates.
Gone down.
Affordability's gone down. Exactly right. So it takes more to buy the next house. Or condo. So people are like, I'm okay. All right. We'll talk about that more when we talk about national stats. Month supply. Look at this.
Good Lord. It's never like this, people. It's never like this.
Never like this. And look how we were up at like 8-9 months during the pandemic when everybody thought they had to flee their condos. Remember? I gotta go. Look at this now. People are back to embracing condos.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no inventory and there's demand.
Yeah.
Okay. This slide just cracks me up. Once we hit 400, we've been sticking around 400 for a median sales price. Now we've inched up to 401. But still, if you go back to 2018, it was 370.
So it's great. This is great.
Yeah. And 4.1 showings per listing. So they're looking at more condos.
Well, more buyers are out looking for condos than they are for single family.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that makes sense. Oh, okay. Condos year to date. So this is finally the year-end number. And we're bringing it to you fast and early, folks. Through December 2023, 9,390 condos closed. That was down 24% versus previous year. Where 12,378 closed, which was down 15% versus 2021. And 2021 was a higher than normal year.
Yep,
Crazy high. So it's kind of a weird to show you this, okay. So we're down. All right, home sales. Look how much farther down we are than that. 898 versus 1641. So what would you round numbers, 40% down probably? I don't know. It's big.
Yeah.
But
I would say it's 45%, because if you double 900,
Yeah.
it's really close. Really.
I can't do numbers in my head. Anyway, all right. So let's look at the showing index, which, okay, this is normed to January of 2014, folks. So the yellow line across the bottom here shows where we are, and showings are still up versus a lot of previous years.
Oh, totally.
So the showing index now is 121 roughly. We were as high as 235 in April of this year, but it's still, there is, I guess, sum it up, demand, right?
There is, and we're going to talk about that next. There is buyer demand out there, huge buyer demand.
Good news, everybody. Mortgage rates nationally are down to 6.62. Remember, we'd been up at like 7.8. You can see on the graph here how it was higher. And then if you look at, this is the 40 year average is 7.74, and we're 6.62. So
we're in really big trouble if interest rates go down to the low sixes, high fives, because everyone is going to want to buy.
It's going to be a huge run on property. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's talk rents, because if you don't own, you rent, right? Unless you're homeless. The average price per square foot is $3.09 in Chicago right now. And here are the basic numbers. A one bedroom is basically $2,078 a month, a two bedroom $2,744, three bedroom $3,678. But that's all of Chicago. Let's look at us versus the rest of the country. We're number 13. The number I want to show you on this chart is over here on the far right in the yellow bar, 16.4. That number represents year over year two bedroom rent increases.
Wow.
It has not yet. And if you listen to people talk nationally, they're like, rents are evening out, everything's fine. It's not that way in Chicago. Rents for apartments continue to go up, up, up. So
this is also the lack of inventory to buy. People have to rent because they can't find what they want.
And so because of that pressure on the rentals, up to the prices. Yep. Okay. Just to give you a sense by neighborhood, if you're in Lincoln Park, the typical property is $37.48, and that includes the studios and one bedrooms.
This is studios and one bedrooms, or
it's everything. So what I'm saying is the average is $37.48, and that includes all the little stuff, not just the two or three bedrooms.
Right.
Near North, $39.27. Yikes. So renting is a challenge. All right. And this is my last slide talking about stats. And this is a national thing. This is not local to Chicago. Consumer Confidence Index. And I like throwing this in there because it's what people are thinking about, where they think the economy is going. And that has a large impact on where we're going to go. It increased again in December. And this is norm. The 100 is 1985. So it increased in December to 110.7, up from a downwardly revised 101 in November. So people are basically optimistic according to this chart.
And it makes sense based on a lot of the data. Anyway, so let's talk national trends. We're bringing you information that comes from an organization that collects data called Keeping Current Matters and provides it turns data into information that is helpful to buyers, sellers, and brokers. So here's the forecast for 2024.
Right. And they're like an aggregator, right? Which you'll see.
But they look at everything. And one of the frustrations that Ann and I sometimes has is Chicago is nothing like the nation. So we will talk to you about how Chicago seems a little different. So this is what these organizations are thinking pricing forecasts will be for 2024. So this is forward looking, and it's really interesting how Zillow and Realtor.com are the only two who are projecting prices to decrease.
Right.
And they're wrong. I mean, they're so often wrong, but I think they rely so much more on algorithms. But
yes.
as you'll see, as we've talked before, normal price appreciation is about 4.5% historically. That's going back 40 years. And so, it's not growing. It's not going to grow as fast as it does typically in a typical year, but still, my gosh. And slower appreciation is actually good for the Chicago real estate market. If this is Chicago, this is pretty much the entire country, because affordability. We need to slow down so that people can catch up with the percentage of their income. But you'll see that later.
I think this is so interesting. I mean, you see the Mortgage Bankers Association forecasting 4.1, and then you see realtor.com going 1.7. So you've got, what is that? Like almost a 6% range of high to low. And then the blue on the left is the 1.5. You know what? If we only go up 1.5% in appreciation this year, that would be just dandy.
And that's around the country. So remember, there's some hot markets that are cooling. So this is around the country. And you're going to see that they are viewing that this is a percentage increase in the number of homes that will sell. Now, they are, at the time, this was done, it was late November, and there was the beginning to think that interest rates were going to go down, moderate, maybe go down a little bit. There was some thinking that they weren't going to, that the Fed wasn't going to continue to increase the base rate. And now there's a real sense that interest rates are dropping, and that they're going to moderate more into the 5% range. So so Harney, Keeping Current Matters, says we could be above all this because there's going to be all this pent up demand to buy and sell as a result of the drop of interest rates.
Right. So, across the United States, it's pretty typical that there are 5 million homes sold annually. So if we do this 5.1%, that would actually be 5.1 million homes sold. That would actually be a 20% increase over 2023.
Yeah.
To give you a sense of just how up the market could be.
Buyer demand. Wow, look at that. So it shows buyer traffic is way up. Yes, there were fewer properties for sale and buyers were seeing more of them, but wow, look at the way demand has grown.
And quick insert here. We talk about all these different statistics: properties for sale, properties under contract, properties closed. Those are all lagging indicators of what's happening in the market. And we can't give you what's happening this very minute. We can only look at statistics. Showing traffic is the best we have for showing you current, right?
That and mortgage applications and mortgage pre-approval numbers. And those have slowed because so much of that number has been in the past refinancing, and nobody's refinancing right now.
Right. No.
No one's refinancing. Unless they bought high. So there we go.
Right.
So one of the things that people are like, well, why would we buy? The interest rates are so high, mortgage rates are so high. It's because the inventory levels are so low that it's keeping competition fierce. So that's what's going on.
All right. You mentioned this earlier. This is the biggie: affordability.
So normal income, a mortgage payment to income ratio, normally over time is 25%. In the crazy years when the economy was either going really strong and price and wages were really high, and during the years from the 2006, 7, 8, when interest rates were so low, were the times when it dropped below that. Those days are not coming back. Today, we're at 27.3%, which is, it feels really high compared to those go-go years, but 25% is normal, and we are not that far from 25%.
Right. Yeah, we talked about the sale of the unicorn years. Boy, was it a sale. Affordability, getting a home was so cheap. It breaks my heart. More people couldn't even take advantage of the opportunity over the last few years.
Or they thought it would continue forever.
Right, right.
Oh, I'll buy it next year. Whoops.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. So, Kyle, you're spot on when you say we're not that high above it. And again, this was done when interest rates were 7.7, right?
Yes.
So the number today is actually lower, probably closer to 25%, which means we're right where we should be.
Right. Look at that. So this is the change of percentage change since 1991. Now, it just shows, because one of the things that people look at is, well, what's my payment, my monthly payment, to help determine whether the financial draw of home ownership. Well, one of the things that is a big draw for home ownership is this storage of money called equity. Equity in your home has grown enormously over the past several years. And look at what it's done in East, North, Central, which is the upper Midwest. We've grown 231% since 1991. The home values, which means look at all the equity that a lot of people have earned in their home. Yes, that's a long time, and not most people don't own the same home that they had in 1991, but it also shows growth in home values over that time.
But if you do a move up and you put your equity back into the next home, then it does continue to grow. So, I love this chart. I mean, or graph, or whatever you call this photo infographic. It's, 231 is not as high as the mountain states, but that's kind of the developing area of the country, if you will.
Yes.
But you know what? 231 is great.
Yeah.
What is great and it underscores what we said before is we don't have the highs or the lows, but it's just good, steady Eddyville.
Yeah. Yes. So this chart shows the go-go years in pink, the pandemic years, and they were crazy. But if you look at the average number of offers received on the most recent closed sale, we are above the pre-pandemic levels. And that says there is interest. This is another indication that there is very much active interest in the market right now.
So when I looked at this, Kyle, I was like, what? 2.5 offers on every property on the market. Huh? On every closed sale. So this would include multiple offers, but not just multiple offers. It includes the guy that priced his house too high and got an offer that was maybe fair, but he didn't realize that he was overpriced, right? So then he reduced, and then he finally got another offer. So it includes those people as well.
Yes.
And the reason I point that out is I'm not seeing multiple offers on everything, but okay, I'm going to fess up to one of the challenging properties I have right now, 360 Randolph. We have gotten 3 offers on the property. And one of them didn't come together. The other 2 just didn't get to the closing table, if you will. So even though that property, it's going to end up with 4 offers by the time it sells. By the way, everybody, if you want a deal, 360 Randolph, 1508. 2-bedroom, $490, including parking. It's great. Okay. But anyway, so I'm just sharing with you my thought process about this, because I was so confuzzled when I first looked at it and said the average property gets that many offers. It just didn't make sense to me. But.
Well, it's interesting. So I got a contact because I've got an active buyer who went back for a second showing of a property. And the agent told me, we've gotten an offer. Do you want to submit an offer. And usually when an agent tells you, we've got an offer, do you want to submit? It means the offer wasn't close to what.
Right.
And we did not. But that deal fell apart because the seller didn't accept it. And this property has been on the market a while, and it's not, and she has aspirational ideas about what it's going to get. So.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, to your point, we were saying that showing traffic, foot traffic was an indicator of demand. This is another indicator of demand that, yeah, people are out there bidding.
Okay, keep going because we got to, yes, look at the active listing count. So this is across the country, not just Chicago, but look at how low we are.
So Chicago's just like the rest of the country. There's very little inventory. Okay.
But this is interesting. This graph shows you the big black line is 2023. And it shows you what should have had, the dotted line is if we had followed the trend, 2023 had followed the trend of how quickly in the second half of the year the number of new listings drops, it would be the dotted line. Look at how much, look at the spread between the dotted line and the solid black line we are. That's a good sign. That says Chicagoans are putting more properties for sale. That is going to help our market. That's a very positive sign. It's unusual.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
So the rest of the country has started to increase their inventory, and we are still way down. We're at minus 18.3%.
Could okay, here's another theory I had when I looked at this.
Mm-hmm.
Note that, like, for example, Florida, Texas, they're not changing their inventory. I mean, they're not as, what I want to say, year over year behind in inventory as we are.
No, they're building. We're not building. They're building in Florida. They're building in Texas.
Yeah. They're
building in Oregon. They apparently are building in Nebraska. So month to month. So this is a good sign. We're only down minus 0.3% for November from October, which is good because remember that arc is slowing instead of a big drop. So that's pretty good. That's a positive takeaway. Yeah, other places are still higher.
Yeah.
So interesting forecast. So here's the summary, Anne. If you had to summarize, what would you say? What is your takeaway for buyers in 2023? What will you tell your buyer clients who show up and tell you and say, what should I expect in this buying experience?
I would say that inventory is going to increase a little bit, but not a ton. That interest rates may come down a little bit, but not a lot. That being at the 25% affordability rate is a healthy thing. And that because of historic increases in value of homes over time, and especially the horrendous cost of renting, it is an important time to consider buying. Be thoughtful, work with an agent who can help you find the right home and craft the right offer. But it is a very good time to be buying right now.
I agree. And I would do those things too, but I would add to that, working with you and working with me means you will be on it. You will have all those strategies to be able to get the property that you want, especially if you act with alacrity.
And what about sellers? What would you tell sellers?
I would tell sellers the buyers are out there. They are out there for a property that is priced correctly. You have a real opportunity to get the market value of your home if you act now and and price it for the market value.
Right.
You stand to lose if you are aspirational.
Yeah, I think that makes good sense too. And buyers are out there. The demand is good. And, barring any unforeseen thing, it's going to be a good year. So
Yes, a good year.
good year.
Excellent.
Yeah. And of course, Kyle and I are always here to help you and advise you. And that's really our role, is not to tell you what to do, but to give you the facts so that you can come to the conclusions that work for you.
Absolutely. And the great thing is we're going to be here on Mondays throughout 2024 and course correcting. So if the market goes really hot, we'll tell you about it. You'll have all the fresh news.
Absolutely right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week on Monday Morning Coffee with Kyle and Dan.